Hey guys, Chris from Hockey Tutorial here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ribcor 70Ks. Been waiting for these things for a really long time, and I'm crazy excited to be taking a look at them. We're going to be looking at how they've changed from the previous generation, the 50Ks, letting you know what CCM have changed and how it's going to help you on the ice. Let's get into it. So starting out at the base of the skate as always. Now, not a lot has changed when we're looking at the holder and the runner, so we're going to fly through this pretty quickly. So if we look at the 70Ks over here, they're using the SB Black runner, and the holder is going to be the SB 4.0. Now, if we look at the 50Ks, it's the exact same setup. So the holder, runner, absolutely no changes. If you're unaware of what the black runner does, it basically helps to fight against corrosion and also helps to hold the edge a little bit longer. So it means that you're going to be able to just get better edge life when you're on the ice with these things. But aside from that, no changes there. Moving up from there to look at the outsole, the 70Ks are using CCM's power transmission carbon outsole. Now that's just going to be a premium quality outsole. As the name suggests, it is a fully composite outsole, so you can expect it to be very stiff, very rigid, so you're going to get good levels of energy transfer, very responsive skate. And it also features a perforation at the base of the outsole to ensure that any excess heat and moisture is able to exit the skate, helping to keep you drier while you're on the ice. Taking a quick look at the outsole on the 50Ks, again you get a fully composite outsole because these were the previous generation but still top spec skates, so you can expect pro level features. It also features multiple perforations as opposed to the 70Ks which only have one perforation, again to help with moisture management inside the skate. So no real big changes in the base of the skate and the runner and the holder, but we'll move into the quarter package where we're going to see the majority of all of the new upgrades and changes. Working our way up on the 50Ks, we're seeing CCM's carbon fiber reinforced Ribcor Elite quarter package. That's a mouthful, I know. This quarter package was based around promoting stability and stiffness around the rear sections of the skate. As we move to the front of the skate around the eyelets, this section over here was much softer, much more forgiving to promote full forward flexion inside these boots. Now, when we move over onto the 70Ks, we see a lot of changes. Of course, we're going to notice the fact that there is no pump, no lace lock. We'll get to why that's been changed. CCM uses what they call the dual-axis composite boot with flex frame technology. Now, what the flex frame technology means is it allows you to get a full forward flexion inside these skates. So it's going to promote having a full range of motion, really being able to get in over your toes, which is going to allow you to perform more naturally and freely on the ice. It's why this skate has been a big favorite amongst pro players. In addition to this, it's also going to allow you to get over on your edges more with strategic stiffness zones inside the boot. Now, one of the big questions is why CCM did make the 70Ks a one-piece boot frame. Now, we saw this in the SuperTax and now most recently the soon-to-be-released FT1s. Now, with the 70Ks, it's a completely different style of player that will like these skates. The result of having a one-piece boot frame means that the skate structure is incredibly stiff and rigid. Now, for those powerful skaters, those powerful players, they love a nice stiff skate that's going to be able to offer them the adequate amount of support and responsiveness that they need on the ice to be able to perform the way they want to. Now, that's a little bit different because some players, judging by the response the 70Ks are getting right now, it's actually a lot more than I perhaps expected, prefer a slightly more flexible skate. And that's exactly what you get when you move away from a one-piece boot frame. The structure of the skate is much softer, much more forgiving, but it's still adequate enough for an elite level of play. So you don't have to think that these skates are going to be too soft for a professional level of playing. I mean, players like Sidney Crosby use these skates, so it's testament to the fact that they are more than good enough for the pro players, but they are just more flexible, more forgiving. It allows players that prefer this kind of construction to perform better on the ice. They're going to be much faster, be able to turn much more aggressively because of that forward flexion that you get inside the 70Ks. But aside from that, it means that if they were to use a skate like the FT1s or the SuperTax, which are incredibly stiff, these players might have to use a lot more force, a lot more energy and power to be able to get the skate to do what it wants. Now, one thing I personally noticed with using the 70Ks versus the SuperTax and also the FT1s, my personal experience was that I was able to get these skates to do a lot more for me without having to use so much power and force to get the skate to bend and flex the way that I wanted it to because of how stiff that one-piece boot construction is. These skates have easily been the most surprising pair of boots that I've put on. I've used the previous generation of Ribcor skates and none of them have felt as good as these ones right here. Moving on to what has created the most questions about the 70K skates, and that's going to be the exclusion of the lace locking system and the pump. When we look at the previous generation of Ribcor skate, we've always seen the pump and the lace locking system, so why have they excluded it? To give you a quick breakdown of the purpose of the pump, when you pumped it up, it would inflate the liners and the padding inside the skate around the ankle. Now, not only would that reduce negative space, give you a very supportive feel, it would lock your heel in place to make sure that there was no bobbing or movement inside the skate, which is what CCM referred to as their high definition heel lock. That's what the pump did. Now when we move over onto the 70Ks, they've excluded this feature out, and it's because with CCM's new construction of the 70Ks, they've been able to provide those features being the support around the ankle, the reduction in negative space, and most importantly that padding and the high definition heel lock, just using the new skate's construction and the new foams that are inside here. Now what that's automatically going to do is save a ton of weight, because although the pump just seems like a tiny button over here, there's a bladder inside the section of the skate right here, and let's not forget the release valve on the other side, which is a lot of material and that adds weight to the boot. This is a high performance skate aimed at an elite level of play, so weight matters. They want to try and get the skate to be as light as it possibly can, and that's why we don't see the pump in the new 70Ks. It's because, plain and simply, the 70Ks don't need the pump. They have all of those features already inside them. Because of this, CCM have been able to save a total of 160 grams from the new 70Ks, or 80 grams per skate. Now the other one was the lace locking system. A lot of players like the lace locking system. In my experience, not many players actually use the lace locking system or the pump. So CCM have gone ahead and removed it, but let's not forget that those lace locking systems can actually be purchased as an extra. So if you go onto any good retail store that sells hockey equipment, you should be able to find those lace locking systems in the accessory section. So if you do really want them, you can get them and attach them. But because these boots are aimed at an elite level of play, CCM is reducing the weight, but still maintaining the high level of performance that we expect in these skates. The best way to think about it is this is CCM's 50K during bulking season, and now, in 2017, we're in shredding season, and that's exactly what the 70Ks are doing. They're shredding any unwanted, unnecessary weight to be as lean as they possibly can, and that's exactly what CCM have achieved here. And of course, the 70Ks are fully heat moldable. Taking a very quick look at the backs of the tendon guards, you're going to notice that the 70K's tendon guard doesn't sit so aggressively when compared to the previous generation, the 50Ks. That's just something that I noticed. It does definitely affect the way that you feel on the ice. I feel that the new 70K's tendons position sits a little bit more naturally, helps you feel much more comfortable while you're on the ice, getting ready for face-offs or just generally striding. So that's a subtle improvement, but definitely an improvement that I noticed. Taking a look at the tongues, we are going to see a few upgrades here. Both of these tongues are CCM's Tritech tongues. Looking at the 70Ks, my personal experience was that the new felt in the 70Ks was a little bit thicker. So this is the felt over here, the white area, was a little bit thicker in the 70Ks when compared to the 50Ks. Now that might just be the particular skates that I've been using, but I thought I would share it regardless. Some of the changes that you will notice is going to be in the metatarsal or the lace bite protection at the front. CCM is using injected plastic in the new 70Ks, which reduces the weight, so you can see that it's much, much lower profile, but it still has adequate protection. It's still going to protect you the same way the 50Ks did. It's just a lot more improved, a lot lighter and lower profile. This is going to help to keep the weight of the skate down, but it's still going to be able to adequately protect you against impacts on the ice. From there, taking a look at the liners inside the new 70K skates, with these, CCM are using what they call a total dry liner. Now, if you look inside the skate, you'll notice that the sides of the liner are black, whereas the back is a little bit gray. That's actually two different materials. On the back portion of the skate along the inside, that's a traditional Clarino liner, and along the sides, it's a microfiber liner. Feeling the liner, you'll notice that it's a little bit rougher than what you felt in the 50Ks, but the reason for that is number one, to make sure that the liners last the lifetime of the skates, but also to ensure that your feet stay planted inside the skate and don't move about. If we take a look at the sides of the skates around the areas that I like to refer to as the high wear areas, CCM have also continued to add additional materials there to ensure that the liners don't break down prematurely. Another subtle but greatly appreciated change that we hadn't seen on the 50Ks is if you look at the neck of the skate on the 70Ks, CCM have also added some comfort pads. Now these just alleviate any pressure at one point, so when you're turning very aggressively and skating powerfully, that's exactly what these skates will allow you to do. These comfort pads will help to alleviate pressure at one point, so you're not going to have the neck of the skate digging into your leg while you're skating. So that's definitely going to be a significant upgrade from the previous 50Ks. And while we're on the subject of the internals, the biggest and most significant change to the liners of this skate is going to be the memory foam that CCM have added. Now, earlier on in the video, you heard me discussing about how the new skate's construction provides all of those features that we had from the previous 50Ks in terms of that high definition heel lock, the reduction in negative space because of how that pump was able to inflate around your ankle and hold it in place. Now that's exactly what these memory foams are able to do. They're incredibly soft to touch, incredibly well padded, but because it's memory foam, it's incredibly adaptable. So whether you have a very narrow foot and you're going to be using the 70Ks, the skates will be able to really immerse themselves and wrap themselves around your foot to keep it planted, to make sure that there isn't any negative space inside the boot, so you're able to perform to the best of your ability inside these things. Now this is where these skates are so special, because even if you have a slightly wider foot, you're still able to be accommodated inside the 70Ks because of that flexible construction. The skate will adapt to the foot that's put inside it. Whether it's a little bit wide or whether it's a narrow foot, you're still going to be able to perform exceptionally well inside these 70Ks. Those brand new memory foams and that exceptional skate construction, along with the flex frame technology, is what makes these 70Ks phenomenal. Taking a look at the liners of the 50Ks, now what we're going to be getting here is two zones inside the liners. The sides are going to be that traditional Clarino, and the back is going to be what they call a tacky Nash. Now what this is for, if you touch it, you'll feel that it's almost a little bit sticky, or it just has a little bit of grip, and that's to help make sure that your heel stays planted, that there isn't any slippage and your feet aren't moving around in ways that they shouldn't be inside these skates. CCM have also added some extra material around the high wear areas of the skates to just ensure that they beef up the liners to help them last a little bit longer. Big thank you for watching this video. Hopefully we've answered all of the questions that you had about what's changed between the 70Ks and the 50Ks. As always, if there's anything that we didn't answer in this video, comment down below and we'll answer it as soon as we can. And also let us know what other VS videos you want to see. A massive thank you goes out to CCM for providing us with these skates to be able to make this video possible. Make sure you keep watching, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. But before you go anywhere, make sure that you hit that subscribe button.